new level of terrifying I didn't think a non-horror game could reach. We come across another dark section in the same chapter, this time with enemies. And Valve uses these enemies to terrify you even more, because in the dark, these things are 10 times scarier, and they're put in places that make it so you really need to pay attention to your surroundings. A lot of times, you're forced to go back and forth between enemies, and the lack of light means one hand is usually always illuminating your environment, throwing off your aim. For Half-Life Alyx, a non-horror game, to reach this level of scary without any jump scares is something only possible in VR and with the advent of the darkness. But a more overlooked case of nyctophobia in Alyx is the Jeff chapter of the game. Again, spoilers, not for Alyx, but this section specifically. Skip to this time code if you don't want spoilers for this chapter. For those that have already played Half-Life Alyx, you might be confused. This section is definitely not overlooked, a lot of people talk about it. But they talk more about Jeff himself and not the environment that you're in. The reason I think it's overlooked in the nyctophobic aspect is because you're only in the dark very briefly, only for a couple minutes. But they're easily the scariest 2 to 3 minutes of the entire game. For context, for the past 20 minutes or so, you've been getting hunted by this monster named Jeff. He can't see and can only be lured places with sound. It's good then that you're in a distillery, because there are plenty of glass bottles to distract him with. You need to open this door using this valve, but it makes a lot of noise. So first, you need to trap Jeff in this power room by throwing a glass bottle and locking the door behind him. Now that you can spin the valve without Jeff trying to kill you, you open the door and find an elevator that leads to where you need to go. But for some reason it isn't opening, then the lights go off. Now you're sitting in a completely dark room. The only noise is Jeff banging on the door. And then the indescribable terror kicks in. You eventually come to the slow, horrible realization that the only way to turn on the power is to open the door. Now, you're not only being hunted by Jeff, but you're also in the dark, which makes things leagues scarier than before, because it's much harder to see where you're throwing these glass bottles, so you can't distract Jeff as efficiently. Now, you must go back into the room and turn on the power despite it being too dark to see. Now, much like Jeff, you're reliant on sound to tell you where he is. Turning on the elevator power makes a noise, one loud enough for Jeff to hear. He comes running at you, slamming his spore-covered body against the upper half of the elevator, until you eventually turn the power on fully and let him in. The lights begin to flicker, and it's at this point you make a second horrible realization. The button to go down is right next to him. You have to go next to him, covering your mouth with your hand as to not cough from the spores, and press this button. I love every aspect of this chapter. I don't think it could have been the same if the game hadn't put you in complete darkness. Another game that also happens to be in VR and uses the fear of the dark to its advantage is an unlikely one. Not because it's not a horror game, it very much is, but because the dark usually isn't the main scare in any media surrounding this franchise. Yet in this game, it is. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, mouthful, is a Walking Dead game in VR. The horror is obviously supposed to come from zombies, right? Yet, at its scariest, the terror comes from something else. A mechanic so genius that it turns Retribution from a 3 on the scary meter to a 9. And a mechanic that wasn't in the first game, the ability to go out at night. Let me rephrase that. The necessity to go out at night. The locations in Retribution are already scary enough on their own in the day, but at night, it's 10 times worse because of a simple mechanic. You're discouraged from using your flashlight because it'll attract the zombies, meaning you have to feel around to get to places. And when I say this section is dark, I mean it's dark. You can hardly see a couple of feet in front of you in indoor places. This has the side effect of not knowing what's right in front of you until it grabs at you. The only way to see zombies in the dark is the whites of their eyes, and you can imagine how scary that is in VR. And the game makes sure going out at night isn't optional. If you want to get phosphorus, one of the most important crafting materials in the game, you need to go out at night and use a UV flashlight to find bones, mushrooms, and whatever else contains phosphorus. The thing is, your UV light is really bad at letting you actually see. It's only for spotting these items, meaning you're forced to confront zombies in near pitch black darkness. But of course, the zombies see your UV light the same way they'd see your regular flashlight. So the zombies can see you, but you can't see them. There are a few games that have truly scared me, but I swear, wandering through a pitch black corridor with my knife out, not knowing if a zombie's gonna jump out at me, is one of the most terrifying experiences I have ever had playing a video game. And the fact that it's in VR really doesn't help. I've played more VR than I'd like to admit, and the moments I've had in the pitch black darkness of New Orleans while trying to find loot or get to a mission is still the most terrifying experience I've ever had in VR. You know, on the topic of video games, wasn't there always something unsettling about Minecraft caves? I can't be the only one that thinks this. Maybe you forgot to bring torches and now you're wandering the cave in the dark, hearing the unsettling cave noises that, for whatever reason, only seem to be played in the scariest of situations. The distant humming of a zombie or the squeaking of a bat in front of me. They give me sort of a childlike wonder. Even if I had torches, they still wouldn't cover everything, and there would be plenty of parts of the cave still completely unknown to me. Sometimes they can be so narrow that walking through them seems claustrophobic. Sometimes they can be so wide that you can't even see the other end. And all of these caves shrouded in a pitch black darkness. Weirdly, I found spelunking in Minecraft to be an experience, not just a necessary part of progression. Nowadays, I don't feel much when exploring the odd Minecraft cave, but I have distinct memories of when I was much younger playing Minecraft for the first time. The cave felt almost alive. I'd imagine what lay behind the next corner, as I had no clue what the game would offer. Now we don't really feel that way. Mobs are just an annoyance in caves. You're there for one purpose, and that is to progress the game. But I still think back to those moments when it was something else entirely. What I used to feel for Minecraft caves is now what I feel for real-life caves. Except in real life, you can't simply dig up to find the surface. Once you get into a real-life cave, you must see it through. You have to find the real exit. Not a giant ravine, but a small opening. And unlike Minecraft, there are no Fulbright mods and textures to make these abyssal caves visible, or torches that lead you back the way you came. Simply a flashlight. And again, unlike Minecraft, these caves are truly dark. Have you ever seen videos of people descending into caves? It imparts such a feeling in me seeing someone rope down further and further into a pitch black void. I shouldn't be surprised, of course. Light doesn't penetrate through caves, it only exists at the entrance. That makes it a whole lot worse. You can leave a dark abandoned building, you can turn the lights on in a dark room, but what do you do when you are over twice the height of the largest building on Earth down at 7,000 feet under, having spent days, even weeks descending into the pitch darkness in caves like Veryovkina Cave in Georgia? Going through literal belly crawl sections and down claustrophobic tunnels and through small openings in the ground. You can't just flick a light switch on down here. You can't just decide you want to leave, unless you want to go back the way you came alone. But keep in mind, ascending a cave is far more difficult than descending. I can only imagine the terror you feel that far underground. Your solitary source of light, the only thing keeping this underworld from becoming pitch black, a simple flashlight. I can only imagine the terror one would experience if their only source of light ever went out. It's horrible to even think about. Stuck in pitch black darkness, the once familiar cave behind you becoming unfamiliar once again. You would, in all likelihood, die in a situation like this. But it would be slow and painful. You would die a victim of the dark. And the temperatures some of these caves can reach is astounding. At their hottest, they can reach up to 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Have you ever been in an attic or inside of drywall? It's very humid in those. It's almost hard to breathe. Now imagine it's even hotter, even more humid, but you're also trapped in the pitch black darkness thousands of feet underground. That is terror that fiction cannot recreate. Somehow, the natural situations and the occurrences of our real worlds always outweighs what horror fiction can provide. Yet, with all this in mind, we still explore them. We still map them out to a dizzying degree. We still attempt to find the deepest caves and the hottest caves and the darkest caves. Our curiosity gets the better of us, no matter how dangerous or stupid it is. We still look to explore them. Life exists in caves. Many blind animals that have adapted to the caves. Cave snakes, cave fish, cave bats, all blind and adapted to such a hostile environment. These animals were never meant to see the sun, never meant to reach the surface. They have adapted to the dark in ways we can only dream of with our technologies. I have a favorite cave creature. It's one that illuminates the darkness of the depths. The glowworm is a creature that isn't a worm. The name is a bit of a misnomer. They're actually larvae of a species of fungus gnat. They emit a bioluminescent glow to attract prey into silk threads. Alone, they aren't much of a spectacle, but in groups, when the conditions are just right, many hundreds of glowworms can stick to the roof of a cave. Together, they create a light show in the dark. Together, they resemble stars in the night sky, an entire array of them looking like the cosmos above, somehow perfectly imitating a sky they will never see. It seems the longing for the light is innate, even in creatures who have never seen past the dark. I talked about being in a pitch-black cave thousands of feet underground without light, but sadly, we don't need to imagine this reality, because a situation like this actually happened in 2010. It's one of those stories of survival that seems so improbable that it looks fake, but make no mistake, this really happened. On August 5th, 2010, 33 miners found themselves entombed. Deep in the San Jose mine in the Atacama region of Chile, the 33 miners found themselves stuck. A cave-in blocked their route to the surface. The cave-in occurred when a large rock collapsed, blocking their exit route and trapping them deep underground. The collapse created a complex network of rocks and debris, making it near impossible for the miners to find a way out on their own. The miners were able to find refuge, however, in a designated shelter within the San Jose mine. The refuge was small, a very confined room, one that wasn't big enough for the 33 miners. The room could accommodate 10 people regularly and 20 at maximum capacity. So you could imagine the struggle of fitting 33 people in it for a long period of time. But maybe the worst part of their situation was that the cramped, scorching hot shelter they were in was completely dark. In the complete absence of light, the miners were not just dealing with physical challenges of the confined space, they also had to deal with the psychological torture of being in perpetual darkness. It became one of the worst parts of the entire experience. Keep in mind, these people had to ration food and water. They were constantly starving and constantly dehydrated and hot. Very, very hot. The temperature of the cave was around 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And yet, these miners spoke of the darkness as if it was far worse than any of these factors combined.
En la oscuridad, pierdes toda noción del tiempo. Parecía una noche eterna, sin ningún amanecer que esperar.
La oscuridad se lo tragó todo. No fue solo la falta de luz, era un silencio opresivo que hacía que cada momento se sintiera más pesado.
Cuando nos comunicábamos con ellos a través del pozo, a menudo hablaban de la oscuridad, el aislamiento que traía y el desafío de encontrar esperanza cuando estábamos rodeados de una nada completamente negra.
The men were found on August 22nd, 17 days after their entrapment. But that wasn't the end of the ordeal, not even close. They couldn't be rescued immediately for several reasons. Drilling a hole might make the entire thing cave in, not to mention the fact they were still 2,300 feet down. Reaching them would be very difficult. All they could do was communicate with the outside, but they could never see it. Eventually though, on day 69, a full 2 months and 9 days after they were trapped, they were rescued. The rescue team sent down a capsule called the Phoenix, and they were all lifted up. Fortunately, all 33 miners survived, but it's hard to overlook the terror of their entire situation. 2 months in pitch black darkness with limited food and water, with the constant threat of getting caved in and the high temperatures. While many of these factors led to the horrible conditions experienced by the miners, the most horrifying part of it all, at least for me, and clearly the miners, was the crushing darkness. Make no mistake, the dark isn't simply an irrational fear, or something that only children have. When presented with the dark for long periods of time, even people who claim to not fear it will always come out at least a little psychologically damaged. But I mean, of course it does. We have run complete darkness experiments before, in more controlled environments, literally putting people in darkness for prolonged periods of time to see what happens to them. The first thing that happens is a disruption to your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells you when to sleep and wake. After a few days, people start waking up and going to sleep at completely random times. After that, the lack of light can affect your serotonin levels, which makes mood swings very common. Along with this, much more melatonin is released in your body because your brain naturally associates the dark with going to sleep, meaning you're constantly drowsy. These are just the surface level things to expect after a few days. But of course, it gets far worse. By around day 6 to 10 of prolonged darkness, your cortisol level increases, making you much more stressed and a lot more anxious. Even if you didn't go into this afraid of the dark, by this point, you very much are. Days 11 to 15 sees cognitive impacts. The dark begins to affect your memory, attention span, decision making. By this point, your cognitive abilities decline. Days 16 to 20. By this point, you're so anxious and stressed that anything can worry you. Complete emotional distress and/or feelings of isolation are very common by this stage. By the 3-week mark, you fully descend into the madness of the dark. Hallucinations are very common at this point because your brain is so deprived of visual stimuli. It's at this point where your mental health can be permanently altered. You can develop depression, anxiety disorders, or other mental challenges. And the San Jose miners endured 69 days of this darkness, almost double the point in which permanent brain damage is common. No doubt, these men were scarred, but they made it out. How many people didn't make it out? How many people were trapped in caves or any other dark environments for potentially even longer without ever being rescued? The thought alone makes me shudder. We can never know how many people lay victim to the mercy of the dark. We can only imagine. Nyctophobia, whether you call it a fear of the dark or a fear of the unknown, is a universal fear, whether fearing the dark itself or what could be hiding in it. The dark is the most mysterious thing we have in our own rooms. From the far reaches of outer space, or to the depths of caves, and even in games and other forms of media, the dark is something that's both physically and psychologically damaging, through the Chilean miners and the dark room experiments. The universality of nyctophobia is something that binds our species together. Fearing something in common is the best recipe for peace. And in that way, you could look at nyctophobia and its universality as a good thing. Because despite being a fear, and despite being something to be scared of, the fear of it connects people. It reminds us that we're only human. Despite the borders of your country or the flag you choose to represent yourself with or your skin tone, we have all evolved the same. We are all human beings. And what's more human than fear? And I'd like to go back to something I mentioned earlier. The glowworms in deep caves forming to make the stars. The stars they'll never be able to see. They are metaphorically and literally in the dark. In the dark about what's outside their narrow view. To them, the cave is their whole world. We as humans are in the dark about many things. We don't understand a lot, and we're trying to survive the human experience the best we can. We put ourselves at a higher place than the glowworms, yet we ourselves are also in the dark. We can never not be in the dark. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias in which the less you know, the more you think you know. You go from the peak of Mount Stupid, not knowing anything at all, but thinking you know a lot because you don't know just how much you don't know. Then the Valley of Despair, you begin to understand how much you don't know. Then, the slope of enlightenment leads to full knowledge, or the plateau of sustainability. However, we as humans will never hit the plateau, because the more we learn about this weird universe we live in, the more in the dark we are. We can never not be in the dark, so why not embrace it? Don't pretend to know more, but simply be glad you're confused. Unlike the glowworms that imitate the stars, we don't have to. We have been provided a unique opportunity, so take it and live life the way you want to. Nyctophobia is a fear, but it's one that is important. It is important as a binder for everyone on this confusing planet floating in space. Perhaps we may never escape the dark, but that doesn't mean we can never see the light.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and welcome to Caught on Camera. This is another observation duty style game, but this one has a lot more anomalies, apparently. So we're going, okay, loading. Survive until 6 a.m. Report any anomalies. A warning will appear if you have too much anomalies. Take a moment to read the report section, bottom right on the screen, to see all the types of anomalies that exist. I don't imagine I'm going to be good at this in the very beginning. I imagine this, boy. Okay. So we got moved, missing, strange light, distorted object, extra object, strange painting, intruder, and other. Okay. I don't like that the curtains are actually moving here. Huh. Okay, well, let's take this down. I know I'm gonna die, so it's not exactly something that I can do. I'm already too late in terms of checking everything properly. But there's not many rooms. That's good. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, I don't like the doorway on the right over there. Oh, that's gonna be a pain in the ass. I gotta get better monitors with like less glare. The problem with doing this stuff is I have to have lights on my face, but that often means that I have lights on my monitor too, so I can't see shit. Was there always shoes there? Was that always light? Was that always open? Moved? I don't know. I'm not used to anything. Huh? Well, that's too bad. Alright. Might have been an extra object, but I don't know. Might have been nothing. Okay. Why can't I use A and D to... Alright, whatever. Oh. Yeah, well. As expected. Okay. Alright, I gotta do my tactic. I bob my head like a chicken for a little bit. Uh-huh. 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 There better not be someone in that doorway over there on the right. Strange painting. Okay. Uh-huh. Damn it. I don't know anything! I know nothing! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Wait, distorted object, that chair ain't right. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I was hoping that was gonna actually be a thing. Alright, good. Great. So I'm not crazy. Oh. This looks stupid. This is the only way that I've managed to be able to actually solve these things. Because you gotta force yourself to take in the whole room in a way that actually makes you look in all the places. Because otherwise, you're boned. Can my eyes want to go to these side doors because they creep me out? And there's definitely going to be something standing in them. I'm not seeing anything. I wouldn't know what to see in the first place. Wait a minute. Bedroom, strange painting. Was that one on the left always that way? That one doesn't look quite right. But then again, I don't know. There's a colorful one on the right, but then the one on the left. Well, damn it. I guess I wasn't taking in the whole room. That's fine. Oh, yeah, I know. Moved. That's not distorted. That's just moved, right? That would just be moved. I know. Calm down. Thank you. Alright, so... Even though I'm Wait. But it's still... Was there another... Wait, the paintings. Oh! The paintings were stacked in like a row in the kitchen. But that's not how they were. Ah! Oh! The shoes! The shoes moved! Oh my god, am I actually gonna get this on my first try? I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you. The chicken bob, it works. If you try it, it works. You take in all of the things. Oh man, that carpet. Something's weird about that carpet, but I can't. Maybe just in case, extra. I don't know. Something about that carpet doesn't gel with my chicken bobbing. Damn it. I don't know why I'm still doing it when I'm not looking at anything. Wait a minute. Were both the windows open? I don't know if both of the windows were open. Like that, anyway. Ah! It might not have been the windows. It might have been something else. It was something else. I'm gonna double do it just in case the windows, because the windows did not go back. Which rubs me weirdly. Damn it. At least there's no punishment for that. Oh, anything bizarre? Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Living room, now there is. That's not right. That's not right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Something's weird over here. I don't know why, but that's catching my eye, but I don't think that's what anything was. Oh. Oh boy. Oh no. Something in the bedroom is... Something's tripping. Oh! Holy... Oh my god! Intruder! Intruder! Oh, no, 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 no! How do you fix that? How do you fix that? With a shotgun? How are you fixing that? What are you doing while I'm observing this that you can fix that? That's what I've never understood about these games. Are they just like figments of my imagination? Or are these things actually happening here? Because both are kind of concerning. There's an SCP that's like, it doesn't actually manifest physically, but it manifests through like camera observations. Okay, well, kitchen's a real fun place to be. Okay. At least these ones are relatively normal. Other than a dude leaning in the window. There's gonna be someone on the right there. I know it. God, I know it. Why do I know that? Why am I cursed with forbidden knowledge? Oh, man. Oh. Looking at all of these. Something's weird in there. Something's weird there. I can't tell, though. Was there always a picture there by the TV? I don't remember. And by I don't remember, I don't know if I noticed. Shoot. I'm gonna go ahead and go weird painting here because I don't really have anything else to go by. But something's weird. Is this carpet always like that? Oh man, I'm boning myself. I'm boning myself. I don't know. I don't know. I never look at the floors. That's the problem. What is that? Other? 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 Oh! Ooh, kitchen! The, thing, the faucet. I don't know if that's an other. I put moved. Because technically the faucet... well, but I mean, technically the handle had to move. Or maybe the handle didn't move. I don't know. I'm just gonna go other. Go other. Something weird on the window. Okay, whatever. I don't know why that would be on other, but okay. Oh, there's gonna be something. Wait a minute! There definitely weren't two! Maybe that's in the living room. I don't know, I can see it from the hallway. Maybe I can only see it from the hallway. Oh. Well, damn. Alright. Well, that's good. I mean, none of this is good, but it's good enough anyway. Man, if I just guess that there's an intruder in that hallway and it actually gets me, I'm gonna be very upset. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this, but I don't like that I'm doing it. It better not say that there actually was one. The light! The light! The light! The light! Strange light! Is there someone standing there or what's going on there? I don't understand what's happening. What do you mean? How do you not consider that a strange light? Were there always 3 lamps in this room? What do you mean? Moved? I don't know what. There's clearly. Is that an intruder? Oh no. Oh, what? That doesn't make any sense. Oh shit! That wasn't even it? That better not be an intruder. That better not be flick. What are you? I don't understand what you are. Ah! Oh my god! There is an intruder in the hallway! That's who that was! Okay! Everything's fine. Oh, and there's also a strange light here, so it wasn't even in the bedroom. Great. It was a twofer. Alright, well, good to know that some things can extend beyond the room that I'm looking at. And I can just flail wildly. And nothingness. That painting was always just weird. Was there always a plate there? Kitchen. Probably. Yeah. Okay. 341. I'm doing super good on my first try of this. Although the night is very long. Let me just do a moved in the kitchen just because that plate still weirds me out. Oh, that chair. Probably. That chair was probably there. If it's confirmed in the other angle, then it's. Wait a minute. That lamp was not like that. That lamp was not. Oh, and the carpet's different. Wait. The carpet's different. So, it's like a replaced object. This carpet was not like this. I'm actually looking at the carpets now, but that carpet was not that way. Damn. How do I... What is it, an extra object? I don't know. The carpet's different. Oh, shit! Oh, God! Wait a minute! I ain't good. Shoot. Okay, well, there's a living room intruder. So... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, you don't need to look at me. Okay, that's good. I probably shouldn't look at him really long. But I'm just so brave. I swear, though, this carpet is different. This carpet is actually different, unless it was already different and it's something else. I don't know. It was different, unless I already fixed it. Maybe I already fixed it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Whatever. Okay, the chair was like that, so that's fine. I swear that carpet was different, though. I'm gonna keep trying. Maybe it's just distorted object. I don't know. I do think, though, that I'm remembering what it was as the anomaly version of it, because it was like gray and like crinkled around the edges. So that might have been the anomalous version of it. And I'm just being stupid. Well, this is a problem because it's been too long since the last anomaly, so I'm boned. Frick. Frick. And I got so far. Frick. No. Not like this. Where's the anomalies? How can I not see the anomalies? Where are the anomalies? Where are all the anomalies? What do you mean? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! That was great. Great, good, great. I'm gonna say something in the living room's weird, because it is. I don't know, something. It's gotta be something, right? Oh, it was something. I don't know what it was, but it was something. Alright. Cool. Good to know. What was it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's also an extra object. I don't know. It could be minute details. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, there you go. It was in the kitchen, both of them. I don't know. I don't know what changed. There was an extra object in here? Are you kidding me? Oh, in the living... Oops. I accidentally said in the living room, but, I'll say in the living room there's a moved. I don't know what it would be. But okay. Alright, okay, that's fair. Well, I lucked out, and if my luck can last just a little bit longer, I've only got an hour left, so that's cool. 4 chairs, 3 lights. This is all fine, probably. This is all fine, probably. This is totally fine, probably. This is all good, probably. That's just the curve of the lens. This is great. Well, interesting. That's fascinating. Oh boy. That's probably fine. That's nothing to be concerned about. Definitely. What just happened there? Something went. Am I crazy? Did something go weird right there on the right? Shit. Okay, well, it's a little bit longer. 40 minutes. Shoot, I'm not bobbing my head. I haven't. Whoa, what do I even do about that? I'm gonna put other, because I don't really. Oh man. I don't know if a ghost was getting like railed outside the window there and just like had their hands propped up against the window or something. That's strange. Do ghosts bone? I don't think science is ready to answer those questions. I don't think humanity is ready to know the truth of what ectoplasm really is. I'm kind of upset that half of the things that I've seen in this, I didn't see. Half of the things I fixed in the, well, bedroom, I see that. Distorted obj. That ain't right. That's not right. I tell you what, a lot more intruders than the other versions of this game that I've played thus far. They've been caught on camera. I'm almost there. Oh. I'm almost there. Huh. Something seems brighter in the strange light. Something's brighter over here. It wasn't that washed out or bright like that, right? Am I crazy? Something's weird, right? Was it always like that? Hazy? It was always just like hazy fog? I don't know. Probably not. Probably fine. Man, good thing I don't get punished for wrong guesses. Oh! Well, damn, I win. All right. Want to check out a hotel? Let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. Oh boy. That's a lot of shit. Oh boy. Who's drinking blood cola in a hotel at midnight? What is that? What is this? Shouldn't I be worried about all these cameras in a hotel? Isn't that more concerning than the actual anomalies themselves? Like, is this not more concerning that there's a camera pointed right at the bed in a hotel? Like that, I feel like that's the bigger anomaly here. You know? I don't know. There's no way. There's no way. This one, there's no way. There ain't no way. There is no way. Is there gonna be oh man, I shouldn't have asked the questions about ghost boning. Oh, I'm gonna get answers I don't want. The truth is, this camera doesn't exist on the premises. This whole room is in a ghostly dimension. Oh man, there's no way. Oh, there's no way. Oh, there's no way. Oh. There's no way. Unless they change the blood cola machine, I'm boned. I don't know. Oh, there's no way. Oh, there's just no way. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe there was 4 bamboo things on the patio. I don't know. Missing object. I feel like there was 4. But maybe not. Like the 4 sticking up here. Nope. All right. It's game over. All right. Good. Great. Good. 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 Great. And good. You know what? Good. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not winning in this creepy hotel. I'm glad I'm not taking part in this pervert operation. You deserve the ghosts. You deserve the anomalies. You deserve it all. Maybe there's a strange painting in here. This whole room's strange. I'm just going to report this as an anomaly in general. Just because it shouldn't be. Of course. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. Something moved here. Definitely. I know! I know! I know! I know! I know. I'm just gonna say there's an extra or missing. I don't know. That plant probably wasn't there. Something's weird about this. Ugh. I'm boned. How about we just say there's a missing object? I'm boned. I'm boned. I'm dead. Damn it! Oh wait, strange light on the patio. That's pretty clear. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Oh, good. I'm back in it, gang! This is it! In it to win it! Super good. I don't know. I'm gonna say moved in the hallway. Oh! Think I see a problem? Better not be getting no blood cola this late. Alright, ice room. Strange light, if that's what that could be considered. Good. Honestly, there's probably like something got moved in here too. I don't know. Could I always hear something in the patio? I don't remember being able to hear anything in the patio. Unless I was just flapping my gums too loudly. Yeah, of course, of course, of course, of course. I don't know. I don't know. Oh! Painting! Strange painting! That's weird! Was that always like that? That might have actually been always like that, and I didn't know. But I feel like that's... Yay! Holy crap, I'm still in it. Can't believe that. That's impossible. That's not possible. That's not plausible. Was that light always out? I don't know. Patio, I don't know, strange light again. This light is weird. I don't know what's up with that one. That's a weird light. I feel like all that's red herring on the desk there is just trying to get my attention, but I don't know where I'm supposed to apply my attention otherwise. Oh, footsteps. Footy steps in the hallway. No, what? Frickin' fruck! Is that guy still there? I'll report it for intruder before I go back. Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. That was super cool. That was good. I'm glad. Not a dick move at all. Why do I feel like I get farther and farther away in this shot every time? Is there always a light up here? I'm gonna say there's a strange light right here in the ice room. Probably not, though. I imagine there was light here. Oh, I still haven't reported this room for just being weird. But I probably wouldn't accept it, so whatever. Man, that got me good. Cliche jump scare, but you know, it still got me. I'm gonna say extra object in room 302. It's called a camera. It shouldn't be there. Yeah, camera wasn't found because it was hidden, and that's weird. It's also a crime. Is that plant always there? And why is the plant moving? That, oh! Well, shit. All right. Well, that hotel, you know, I don't like it. I don't like it. So maybe I'll come back around to it. If this gets another update where there's another one, I'll try to beat the hotel and then do the next one, because this one, way more intruder anomalies, which I find is always the interesting one. It's not always interesting to see a banana move and keep an eye on all the cornflakes or something like that, but that was pretty good. I liked it. Caught on camera. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!
We humans live on Earth. That is a very hard statement to contest, because, for the most part, it's true. Humans live on Earth, shocker. But of course, it's not really true. We humans, along with all other land animals, live on only 30% of Earth. How can we say we live on Earth when we really only live on a third of it? We live on the part of Earth where we can live. The part of Earth that won't suffocate us. The part of Earth that our electronics work in. The part of Earth where we can breathe oxygen and live in and thrive in an environment we have adapted to. However, those boxes aren't checked for the other 70% of Earth. The ocean. Though both ocean and land exist on Earth, land and sea are very different, a world far different from our own. One that, though we try, always fail to conquer. The ocean is an unforgiving place, one where humans have not influenced, and one that is cold and dark and filled with creatures that seem more celestial than earthly. While some may find the ocean cool, me personally, and many others, find it absolutely terrifying. This fear of the ocean, the fear of this other world that is so mysterious to us, has often been referred to as thalassophobia. The ocean is a big place, there is no denying that. So big, in fact, that the majority of it remains unexplored. In fact, we've mapped the topography of Mars better than we have the ocean floor. Let me repeat that again. We understand more about planets that we have never set foot on than we do the oceans that exist on our own planet. The farthest galaxy we've ever seen is 33 billion light years away from Earth. We have observed a galaxy farther away from us than nearly 3 times the age of the universe. And yet, 80% of our oceans remain unexplored. How is the ocean that mysterious to us? This would instill at least a little bit of fear in any person. It's only natural to fear such a mysterious yet close world to us. In fact, I would classify thalassophobia as more of a fear of the unknown than a fear of something tangible and understood. Despite the fact that the majority of the ocean is unexplored, the part of the ocean we have seen and have been able to explore is still terrifying. Alien sea creatures, the darkness of the deep ocean, and the insane pressure from the water over your head are just some of the terrifying things that we've observed in the ocean. In a way, it's a lot like outer space. Looking at pictures of the deep dark ocean is a lot like looking at the expanse of the cosmos. Looking at pictures of deep sea animals with the backdrop of pitch black is a lot like looking at planets with the backdrop of space. Both outer space and the ocean require careful planning and special made suits. Both are dangerous to explore, both are extremely mysterious, and both are unimaginably vast. Noting these similarities might make you think thalassophobia is similar to astrophobia, the fear of space. And you'd be right to point that out, the only difference being that space is way out of your reach. The ocean, however, is all around us. You fly over it in an airplane, you go over it on a boat, you swim in it, you might even live near it. The ocean is inevitable. Another thing that makes me hate the ocean, but really water in general, is the concept of drowning. Thinking about it makes my skin crawl. Suffocating is already one of the worst ways to die, but combining that with the hopelessness of water makes things even scarier. Here, there is no escape for you. Even if you wanted to breathe so badly that you would do anything for a whiff of that sweet, sweet oxygen, you can't. Which is why, along with having a fear of the ocean, I would also say that I have an equally intense fear of drowning. I couldn't find a specific phobia for the fear of drowning, so I made my own term, submersiphobia, coming from the Latin word submersi, meaning drowning. I hate the concept of drowning and everything surrounding it. The worst thing about it, though, is that even if you know you're going to die and are feeling the horrible pain of drowning, you can't even say any last words. The water muffles you out. No one will ever hear your final thoughts. Water is isolating. If you drown, you usually do so alone. Alone, in an environment unfamiliar, hostile, and lacking in oxygen. An environment where you have no chance of dying peacefully. You would probably go through an unfathomable amount of pain while drowning, which is why it's always a little unnerving seeing characters in movies or video games submersed in water with no way to get out. But of course, there are many real-life examples of drowning, documented cases of people suffering such a fate, but none of them as morbid as the story of Yuri Lipsky, a man who died while attempting one of the most dangerous diving sites in the world, the Blue Hole in Egypt. What makes the story of Yuri's death by drowning so unique, however, is that there is a full video of it, detailing every second of his inevitable fate. It starts with Yuri seeming pretty confident and diving down in his gear. Once he gets to the bottom, he is sitting at about 270 feet and attempts to inflate his BSD so he can rise to the surface. However, this sadly proves ineffective due to the depth he's at. This realization seems to cause Yuri to panic. He starts frantically moving around, his tank now empty. The video doesn't actually show Yuri dying. It cuts to a little bit after. But from what we can see, at 5:11 p.m., 300 feet underwater in pitch black darkness, Yuri drowns. It's stories like these that fully cement my fear of drowning. It's not just Yuri drowning that gets me though, it's the circumstances surrounding it, how easily avoidable it was, and the simple fact that his situation is so dire. What do you even do when you're drowning 300 feet underwater? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. It's the hopelessness of it all, combined with the otherworldly darkness and the pain of drowning, that makes me fear it so much. Which, to me, makes drowning one of the most common worst ways to die. Which is why I hate the concept of underwater cave diving with every ounce of my being. Regular cave diving is bad enough. Horrible cases of people being lost in caves and stuck in complete darkness for weeks. Cases like Floyd Collins, who was stuck in Sand Cave, Kentucky in a dark tunnel for 14 days. 2 weeks in pitch black darkness, slowly dying. These anecdotes make me fear caves in general. But now, imagine adding water to the mix and being deep under the sea, making it so you have to wear a scuba suit. And if you get lost, you'll likely drown. You can't see the surface, and it's very dark. There are literal underwater warning signs in some of these underwater caves telling people to not go any further because of how dangerous it is. If anything goes wrong, anything at all, even if it's as simple as your light going out, you're, in all likelihood, not going to make it. Seeing videos of people just barely fitting through tight gaps in underwater caves gives me such a dreadful feeling. But there is a beauty to underwater caves that can't be denied. Sometimes, when I see a particularly friendly-looking underwater cave, I think about how cool it would be to explore it. But then my rational thinking comes in, and I think about how dangerous it is, even in wider underwater caves. Underwater cave diving is probably the pinnacle of my fear. It combines thalassophobia, submersiphobia, and claustrophobia all in one. And yet, people still go underwater cave diving simply for the fun of it. There is clearly an inherent fascination with underwater caves. One so strong that despite the fact that it is easier in every way to simply stay on land, people still look to the waters. And this fascination applies to all bodies of water, whether for underwater cave diving, traveling in submersibles, or any other horrifically scary underwater activity you can think of. But there is something that scares me even more than underwater cave diving, even more than drowning, that thing being the deep ocean. The first thing about it that scares me is the true distance of the deep. The average depth of the ocean anywhere is over 12,000 feet down, And that's just average depth. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, is an insane 3 times that at 36,000 feet below us. To put that into perspective, it would take 25 Empire State Buildings stacked upon one another to reach from the bottom of the ocean to the surface. That is 7 miles down. What's even scarier is just how much deep ocean there really is. The ocean is an average of 12,000 feet. At around 3,000 feet, light from the surface fizzles out, and the ocean turns a pitch black, meaning that 90% of the ocean is complete darkness. It's this darkness that I also want to talk about. Nick defaced a little bit when we were kids. There's something different about darkness in the sea. Something more mysterious and scary. Looking at pictures of the deep ocean feels different from looking at a dark house, for example. One of the main reasons most of us were, or even still are, scared of the dark is less the dark itself and more the thought that something could be lurking inside of it. Of course, the older you grow, the more your rational thinking kicks in, and you realize there probably aren't any monsters or eldritch horrors lurking in your closet. However, with the ocean, because of just how alien it is and how filled with creatures that we couldn't ever imagine existing in any other condition it is, and the simple fact that the majority of the deep ocean is completely unexplored, we can suspend our disbelief as to what could be lurking here. There may be no monsters in your closet, but they definitely exist in the deep ocean. As a result of such an environment, the possibility of a giant sea monster appearing from the darkness looking twisted and scary, ready to eat you, unlike with a dark closet, isn't zero. This is also further backed by a phenomenon known as deep-sea gigantism. Deep-sea gigantism is the tendency for deep-sea animals to grow much larger than their shallow counterparts. Let's take the giant isopod for example, an animal that belongs to a group that only grows a few millimeters in the shallows, but down here, they can grow up to 1.5 feet in length and weigh 4 pounds. This almost seems counterintuitive. How do underwater creatures get bigger the farther down you go? If anything, they should be smaller because of the immense pressure, right? Well, no. The deeper you go, the bigger the monsters. And you want to know the best part? We don't know exactly why this happens. However, our best theory is that deep-sea gigantism happens due to the fact that many sea creatures are made majoritively of water. This means deep-sea life is very buoyant, and as a result, they don't need to fight as much against gravity in order to grow. That still doesn't comfort me from the fact that animals get bigger the deeper we go, making the deep-sea ocean even more terrifying. The horrors of it, combined with the huge scary animals that the deep calls home, breeds absolute nightmare fuel. What makes this even worse is the fact that the creatures that exist in the sea are much different from the creatures that exist on land. Ocean animals have developed in very different ways from their on-land counterparts. With their different environment, different ways of breathing, different gravity, and pretty much different everything. As a result, sea creatures are the closest things we have to aliens, especially deep-sea animals. Deep-sea gigantism plays a role in the fear these deep ocean creatures instill in me. But another thing that makes me fear deep-sea creatures in particular is the fact that they have developed under even weirder conditions than shallow water animals. Not only are they developing in the water, but also in complete darkness, along with immense pressures and a lack of readily available flora and fauna to feast on. As a result, deep-sea creatures are even more alien than shallow water ones, along with being even bigger. These facts have inspired many a tale of ocean beasts. Beasts like the Kraken. Originating in Scandinavian folklore, the Kraken is a staple of underwater mythology, being described as huge cephalopodic creatures said to be capable of destroying large ships with ease and dragging sailors to their deaths. It is described as being so powerful and so big that it can take down multiple large ships with ease using its snake-like tentacles. In some tellings, having a circumference of 1.5 miles. I love the myth of the Kraken. I love how much of a perfect horror story it is. Because unlike stories of ghosts or creatures in the woods, the Kraken exists in pretty much a whole different dimension. We can brush off monsters in the wilderness, as at least we actually exist in their domain. However, with the Kraken, the imagined scale and features of it have the potential to be so much greater just due to the medium in which it exists. I mean, you can disprove many horror stories told here on land. The Wendigo has never been sighted, Slender Man is just a video game, and skinwalkers are just a creepypasta and nothing more. But in the water, how can anyone disprove the Kraken's existence? I mean, we've already seen underwater creatures that completely defy any standards set here on land. So why shouldn't the Kraken exist? Especially with how mysterious and unexplored the ocean is. In an environment where isopods can grow to the length of a football and whales weighing as much as 130 cars exist and thrive, is the existence of the Kraken really that hard to imagine? The story of the Kraken suspends disbelief, because there's simply no way to disprove its existence. Of course, the Kraken does exist. We've just given it a new name, the Colossal Squid. The myth of the Kraken never died, it just went from being a myth to being real. Somehow, this seems to be a pattern. Things about the ocean we thought impossible being proven fact simply by the virtue of how unexplored and unknown it is. The colossal squid is a deep-sea animal I find fascinating, because it's almost hard to believe it's real. This creature seems like something that should be relegated to myth, yet it's as real as can be. That's something else I find scary about the ocean. Like I said earlier, deep-sea creatures are more celestial than earthly. And it's this reason why I find them so terrifying. Not just the sea itself, but what it produces. It isn't just cephalopods either. Sharks are another deep-sea terror that I find both fascinating and terrifying. And I don't mean the ones you've heard of. I'm not talking about great white sharks or hammerhead sharks or any other that you can name off the top of your head. While those can be scary and have been the inspiration for many films, these common types of sharks can't compare to the sharks found in the deep ocean. Sharks like the goblin shark, with a protruding jaw that can lunge forward to prey at will, having sharp, slender teeth that, unlike some other species of sharks, aren't used for taking large chunks out of their prey, but rather to grab and hold onto their prey for long periods of time. In other words, if a goblin shark grasps you with its slender, sickly teeth, it will never let go. Of course, goblin sharks aren't a threat to humans. They live in much too deep water and are way too rare for any of them to attack people. Knowing all of this about the inhabitants of the deep ocean, all of a sudden, myths like the Kraken don't seem as far-fetched. It's much easier to believe in these stories because our oceans are already so filled with myths. Of course, the scariest part isn't what exists in the ocean, it's what could exist in it. We have only mapped out and explored 20% of the ocean. The other 80% could be filled with all sorts of things. It's estimated that 91% of ocean species have yet to be classified. What could exist in that 91%? We have no clue. But our imaginations can certainly lead us to many conclusions, just as it did for folklore about deep-sea monsters in our past. Sea creatures are just one branch of thalassophobia, and it seems pretty obvious why. Of course, people who fear the sea would also fear the monsters that it creates. But there are less typical fears related to the sea that still have large communities following them. The fear of not just what's in the sea, but how fragile humans are when met with it. The oceans are a lot like space in that way, hostile to humans and a horrible place for anybody to be. Yet our curiosity still gets the better of us, and nothing shows this vulnerability in the presence of the sea better than our attempts to invade it. Attempts that ultimately fail in the form of shipwrecks. There's something unsettling about a shipwreck. Shipwrecks are a reminder of how fragile we are when in contact with the sea. A reminder that even our largest vessels and most advanced technologies are laughable in the face of the oceans. It's like looking at a corpse. We attempted to conquer the sea, transport goods and people on ships, swim in it, and even go so far as to make submersibles to explore the interior of it. But it doesn't always work, and shipwrecks are proof of this. Drowned man-made behemoths in an environment we can't reach, shipwrecks show how weak we are in the face of the ocean. When making and designing a ship, you have one job: don't let it sink. But of course, in the presence of the sea, this is easier said than done. As a result, more than 4 dozen large ships sink per year. It isn't just the symbolism of a shipwreck either. Oftentimes, it's the wreck itself that's unsettling. If left long enough, ships will go through almost a decomposing process, much like a corpse. where slowly but surely it starts changing, getting rusted, pieces of the ship falling off and withering away. An alien, almost fungal-looking growth starts covering it, until eventually it becomes part of the ocean. Fish use them as homes and a place to feed, and they become what is known as an artificial reef. A piece of humanity, a piece of land, a piece of our world, being claimed by the ocean and its inhabitants. While it might seem like another branch of thalassophobia, the fear of man-made things underwater, like shipwrecks or statues or any underwater buildings, has a phobia of its own, called submechanophobia. It seems like a niche fear at first, until you realize hundreds of thousands of people have it. I won't go into too much detail about it because I've already made a video about submechanophobia, but it truly shows how ill-equipped we are when facing the ocean, no matter how advanced our technologies are. And nothing represents my pure fear when it comes to man-made things underwater more than submarines. Submarines represent everything I fear in the ocean. Sometimes I get nightmares about being teleported to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but these fears aren't intense, because on dry land, I understand that I won't magically get teleported down to such depths, and no human would be able to go down there. At least, no human should be able to go down there. However, with the advent of submarines, any depth, no matter how inconceivably vast, can be reached. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean, a place that takes incredible effort to get to. So much effort that while 12 people have walked on the moon, only 6 have ever been to the Mariana Trench. Watching videos of people going to the very bottom of the trench is a scary experience, at least for me. I can only imagine how it would feel going down there, being submerged by that much water, being in an environment that you were never meant to even see. But to me, the scariest part is the in-between between the surface and the ocean floor. There has to be a moment when you're going down, maybe at around the halfway point, when you're not quite deep enough to see the bottom, nor are you high enough to see the surface. As a result, you transcend in a complete pitch black void, suspended in the middle of a world so different from our own, one so hostile to humans that specially made ships with hundreds of people to design and build them need to be used to traverse something so hostile. It's hard to even think that this void exists on our own planet. It's more reminiscent of space rather than a place on Earth. Of course, much like outer space, the ocean isn't just visually scary and mysterious. The sounds of the ocean can also be terrifying. After all, sound travels 4.3 times faster in water than in air. But how do you even get sound from water? You use a device called a hydrophone mounted at the bottom of the ocean with connected cables that deliver data. You might wonder why I even bring this up. What's so scary about underwater sounds of all things? Well, it plays into the mystery of the ocean, because we don't know where a lot of these sounds come from. I mean, we have guesses, but we don't truly know, and the sounds themselves are also terrifying, often being low-pitched and sounding celestial, almost like a sound we'd hear from space. Like this sound here, heard from the Mariana Trench. Scientists don't know exactly what this sound is. I mean, we think it's a whale, but it doesn't sound like any whale we know of, and it was taken right above the deepest part of the ocean. Another mysterious ocean sound is the bloop signal. It was recorded on hydrophones that were over 3,000 miles apart, implying that whatever made the sound had to be way bigger than any regular sea animal in order to transmit its sound that far. Here's what it sounded like. This next sound, however, is the weirdest. It's called upsweep, and we've been detecting it ever since 1991, using the United States' SOSUS sonar array. It seems to be coming from somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. It's loud enough to be heard from all over it, and it sounds like this. The sound is a series of upsweeping sounds that lasts for a few minutes. The interesting thing about this sound is that it changes in volume based on the seasons. It gets louder during autumn and spring, and quieter during the summer and the winter. The strange thing is, we have no clue what's making the sound, or why it's so punctual, or why it's slowly getting quieter and quieter each passing year. Scientists say it could be underwater volcanic activity, but nobody has ever found the source of the sound, so how can we truly know? And I just hate that question. As scared as I am of the sea, and as much as the mysteries of it are frightening, not truly being able to know is just annoying. I am terrified of the sea, yet also fascinated. The unknowns are both scary and really frustrating, because I want to know more about the sea, yet I also want things to stay mysterious and vague so I can scare myself with what I think could be out there. I want the Kraken to exist. I want the upsweep sound to be a dying, eldritch monster at the bottom of the sea floor. The thing with all these sounds is that they're all explainable. The sound from the Mariana Trench could just be an undiscovered species of whale. The bloop signal was likely a huge iceberg falling into the water. Upsweep is probably just some volcanic activity. Something about me, though, just can't accept this. I don't want it to be so anticlimactic. From a storytelling perspective, I would much rather sit here and tell you about how mysterious this all is. And while the ocean itself is mysterious, a lot of the unexplainable things about it have been explained. The Kraken, once a large sea beast only rumored to exist, has now been relegated to the much more boring discovered species category in the form of the colossal squid. Don't let this fool you though. The ocean is still filled with mysteries. As I said earlier, 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. But mysteries happen not just within the ocean, but also as a result of the ocean. There have been many cases of ships disappearing at sea without a trace and never being found again. But these are explainable. What's less explainable is when a ship gets found and is taken to shore, yet the entire crew is missing and absolutely nothing else is changed. Surprisingly, this has happened more than once. One time in 1872, and another in more modern times surprisingly, in 2007. But the most famous case happened in 1872, with the disappearance of the crew of the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste is one of the most enduring maritime mysteries in history. On December 5th, 1872, the ship was discovered adrift and deserted in the Atlantic Ocean. The crew of the ship, including the captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, and his daughter, were all missing, but the ship itself was in seaworthy condition. The crew's personal belongings and the ship's cargo was also still intact. There were no signs of a struggle, and the lifeboat was missing. This is a terrifying concept, but an interesting one too. It's not like submechanophobia. There's no man-made objects taken by the sea, but instead, a mystery. One that, even nearly 153 years later, hasn't been solved. We don't know what happened on the Mary Celeste. Of course, we have theories, piracy, a mutiny among the crew perhaps, but we can never truly know what happened. Maybe a large sea creature that had never been seen before jumped up and took the crew overboard and left everything else completely untouched. What's peculiar is that the same thing happened in 2007, this time with 3 crew members on a smaller vessel. Yet again, everything stayed the exact same. The engine was still running, a laptop was turned on, and a meal was set out on the table. But there was no sign of the 3-man crew anywhere on board. A similar thing happened on a lighthouse in December of 1900. A passing steamer called the Arctur noticed that the lighthouse was turned off, something that was extremely unusual. When a relief party arrived at the lighthouse, they found it empty. The kitchen door was unlocked, chairs were overturned, and the clocks had stopped. There were no sign of the 3 stationed lighthouse keepers. Yet again, a crew of people up and disappeared with absolutely no trace. All 3 of these stories, while different in their time periods, locations, or setting, experienced a similar unknown fate. It seems like the fate of all of them will likely never be fully understood. It seems almost impossible. It seems like a glitch in the universe, like all of these people seemingly vanished from the face of the earth. While the sea wasn't directly responsible for these disappearances, the sea was an indispensable cause for their vanishment. All 3 of these cases are as mysterious as the sea itself. We'll never know what happened to any of these people, and the sea is the reason for that. The opposite of these cases would be tales of survival, people put to the sea that actually lived to tell the tale. And no stories of survival at the sea is more captivating and miraculous as that of Jose Salvador Alvarenga. On November 2012, he set off on a fishing expedition with a companion named Ezequiel Cordoba from Costa Azul, Mexico. They were caught in a storm and their small fishing boat was blown off course. Despite their best efforts to navigate back to the shore, they became lost at sea. Alvarenga and Cordoba were adrift in the Pacific Ocean for an astonishing 438 days. Sadly, Cordoba did not survive the entire ordeal. Alvarenga was left alone at sea, in complete isolation, for 438 days. It was only until January of 2014, a full year and 2 months later, Alvarenga's boat washed ashore on the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean. His incredible tale of survival garnered international attention, and Alvarenga's physical and mental resilience in the face of unimaginable circumstances made headlines around the world. But I mean, of course it did. Alvarenga did the impossible. He survived the wrath of the sea for 438 grueling days. I mean, this was huge. He had done something not many had done before, survived in the face of the ocean. In his autobiography, there's a section that gets me. An entire page of the book dedicated to Alvarenga comforting his friend by imagining all the things they would do once they got back to land. He looked forward to the simplest of things, like walking to a store or eating a fresh tortilla. Alvarenga even jokingly said he was suffering from, quote, a year-long tortilla shortage. Reading the autobiography, although occasionally humorous, is mostly chilling. The sea shows no mercy, but every once in a while, it spits someone out. A survivor of the wrath of the sea, and it is in these accounts of a survivor that we see the true ruthlessness of the waters. Thalassophobia seems to be a universal fear, one that affects many people. As such, there are a lot of pieces of media, mostly horror media, that uses thalassophobia and the fear of the ocean in general in its scares. But what I find more interesting is the use of unintentional horror. And the only game I can think of that does this perfectly is Subnautica. Subnautica is a game set on an alien planet. You start the game inside of an escape pod, landing violently onto the waters of an unknown planet. The catch? The entire planet is all ocean. Looking out at this vast ocean, I could only think of one thing. What could be out there? I mean, just look at our own ocean. If our own oceans are already filled with aliens, what could be here? It's a discomforting question, and one that I think every Subnautica player has asked themselves at one point. But of course, the game forces you to dive into that mysterious ocean. You are, at first, greeted with a picturesque, beautiful underwater environment. You think to yourself, this isn't so bad. But slowly, as the game goes on, you find that you need to go deeper. The game is constantly pushing you out of your comfort zone and forcing you to go deeper and deeper down, until you're in a deep, dark blue ocean with the sounds of who knows what in the distance, while gathering your materials in the deep seas of the planet. It's very much unintentional, but Subnautica was one of the scariest games I've ever played. There are other smaller games, like Iron Lung, that deal with thalassophobia, but I think Subnautica is the best in terms of making you fear the ocean. The reason, ironically, is that it's not a horror game. Horror games are intentional with their scares. You can usually tell when a scare is about to happen, or at the very least, you're aware that you're meant to be playing a scary game. However, with Subnautica, it's not supposed to be scary. Sure, there are sea creatures, but for me, the main horror comes from the sea itself. Much like in real life, while ocean creatures can be terrifying in their own right, I don't think any of them are as scary as the sea itself. The oceans are a frontier that humanity hasn't quite been able to conquer yet. Sure, we try. We have ships and submarines, and for the most part, due to air travel, the ocean is becoming smaller and smaller every year. But there is a fascination, and a fear. The ocean is the final frontier of our planet, the final part of our Earth yet to be explored, and for that, it still remains one of my biggest fears. But there's still a creativity that the ocean instills in me that can't be denied. The unknown can be looked at as scary, but also as a blank canvas for us to imagine. Sure, the imagined sea creatures like the Kraken or the insane depths that the ocean goes down to can be terrifying. They can also be exciting. One last part of our planet we haven't explored. And for that, I am both fascinated and terrified by the ocean. Whether it be in the form of sea creatures, mysteries, tales of survival, or video games, this other world has proven to be the most terrifying unknown we've ever come across. And it exists on the very planet on which we live. The final frontier of our planet is a source of boundless creativity and striking horror. And I'd like to end this video with a quote from James Cameron when he was at the bottom of the deepest part of this other world. One that stuck with me the most in my many hours of researching this video. Most of our lives, we huddle together in the warmth of human company. Down here, there's a purity. You sense the vastness in all that we don't know. Thank you for watching. On December 24th, 1968, Apollo 8 made its first orbit around the moon. While the astronauts were coming around the backside of the moon, one of the astronauts, Bill Anders, had taken out his Hasselblad camera to get a picture of the lunar landscape. As he pulled his hands up to take the photo, he saw the Earth in a way that, at the time, only those men had ever seen it, as a ball in the darkness of space. And he took possibly the most influential photo of all time, the photo now known as Earthrise. Earthrise can be described as many things: influential, important, recognizable, but I would describe it as something different. To me, and to many others, this image, this famous, influential image, can only be described as terrifying. The blackness of space around the Earth, the visible meteorite craters in the moon, the simple fact that that tiny ball surrounded by the eternity of the cosmos is all of us, are just some of what makes this image absolutely petrifying to me. The fear I feel about this image and images like it is a fear that I'm not alone in. This fear of space has often been referred to as astrophobia. Astrophobia is the fear of space and the celestial bodies that inhabit it. I've covered other fears on this channel, but unlike those other videos, I can confidently say that I have astrophobia. Looking into the void of deep space, or an image of a gas giant several magnitudes larger than Earth surrounded by a pitch black void, these things are horrifying to me. And I'm clearly not alone. With videos on astrophobia getting millions of views and us knowing more and more about the cosmos every year, this fear of space is something that many people can relate to. But why? Why is space so terrifying to so many people? Well, let's start off with one of the biggest triggers for astrophobia, at least for mine: planets. The planets in our Milky Way and beyond are creepy. They have an almost unsettling tinge to them. Seeing images on the surface of Venus or Mars is oddly unsettling. It feels like the uncanny valley. Mars especially resembles Earth when seen from the ground, but you can always tell that this isn't Earth. This isn't home. But for me at least, the scariest part of these planets isn't their surfaces. What I find most uncanny about these planets is seeing them from space. I think it has something to do with the size and the planet's buildup, but what I find more scary is the darkness they exist in. This horrible darkness that makes the true size of the planet unrecognizable. But you know they're still massive. They look almost like a face peering out of a dark closet, ready to jump at you. The two planets I find the scariest are Jupiter and Saturn. The fact that these planets, despite their large size, don't even technically have surfaces is just one of the details that unsettles me about them. The fact that you could simply fall right through them, and the fact that both of these planets are made of heavy, toxic gases, is truly unsettling to me. As a kid, I used to have nightmares about falling into Jupiter or Saturn. Just knowing that I couldn't breathe in there, and even if I could, the pressure and the toxicity of the atmosphere would most definitely kill me, was something I found terrifying, and still do. Planets like Neptune and Uranus are also scary in their own right. The deep blue contrasts heavily with the blackness of space, and Neptune to me is especially scary considering it's the farthest from Earth, making it feel even more alien. You might have seen maps of the solar system in school that look like this. These maps are good at showing the sizes, but inaccurate when it comes to distance. We tend to group the gas giants together as if they were some sort of system of their own, close by to each other, similar to the distances between Earth and Mars, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This is an actual 2-scale model of the distances between planets. As you can see, Neptune is nearly double the distance that Uranus is from Saturn. Despite that, we tend to group Uranus and Neptune together as the icy, blue, cold planets. These vast distances aren't the only thing that scare me, however. Another thing that really gets me and freaks me out about these planets is their sheer size. Astromegalophobia is the fear of large objects in space. It's another thing that really freaks me out about these planets. Look at Jupiter, for example. The big red spot you can see in most photos of Jupiter is actually a storm that's been raging on for nearly 350 years, and a storm that is nearly twice the size of Earth. The sheer size of all these planets scares me. They seem almost menacing, something so inconceivably large that if I was standing in front of it, I would barely see past the base. Just knowing that these celestial bodies are out there somewhere, made up of gases that would kill me if I were ever to fall in them, makes looking at images like these, or even imagining myself standing out there in space in front of these gas giants, terrifying to think about. Looking at these images almost makes me feel like something is staring back at me. They're intimidating. But it isn't only the huge planets that scare me. In fact, I'd argue that tininess is even more scary. And that's what we are. Tiny. This is Earth as viewed from Saturn, taken by the Cassini Space Telescope. That's us. That's all of us. Every memory you've ever had, every human that has ever existed, every feud between countries, all of human history, and everyone you love or have ever heard about anywhere has all been here. It's no wonder then that people say we should send politicians to space so they can see the Earth as it is, an extraordinarily tiny ball in the middle of nowhere. Many astronauts, in fact, report their outlook on life changing after seeing Earth as such a small, fragile sphere, especially those on the Apollo missions. One of the Apollo astronauts, Edgar Mitchell, has a quote relating to this that I really like. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. I will never know the feeling of looking at Earth as a tiny ball in space, but looking at these images is the second closest thing to that. It really emphasizes how tiny we are, and a result of just how small we are is also our fragility. Space is hostile. We can be hit by a gamma ray burst, or a rogue asteroid could come in our direction, and we couldn't do anything about it. I think that concept alone contributes greatly to my astrophobia. We are simply at the mercy of the cosmos. The size of the universe is vast, of course, but it isn't just the solar system and the planets in it that scare me. There are many exoplanets that we've discovered that I'd argue are even scarier. Like the exoplanet Gliese 436b. It's a planet around the size of Neptune. Its surface is covered in ice, yet it orbits only 2.5 million miles away from its host star. Now, that might sound like a lot, but for reference, the closest planet to the Sun, Mercury, is nearly 36 million miles from the Sun. Its surface temperature is 882 degrees Fahrenheit, and yet it's still made completely out of ice. It's due to this phenomenon that the ice in Gliese 436b is constantly on fire. Yes, you heard that right, literal burning ice. The reason the ice doesn't melt is because of the immense gravitational pull from the planet's core, which prevents the water from evaporating away from the ice. And this burning ice isn't even the weirdest part of the exoplanet. Because of its high concentration of hydrogen, we would expect to see significant levels of methane in the atmosphere of Gliese 436b. But paradoxically, we see that the planet has 7,000 times less methane than it should, and has a significant amount of carbon monoxide instead. It's a planet with burning ice and poisonous air. Not scary at all. Another exoplanet that triggers my astrophobia, but more specifically my astromegalophobia, is the planet J1407b. They really need to give these planets better names. Saturn is to me the scariest planet in the solar system because of its rings, but Saturn has nothing on J1407b. For reference, this is Saturn, and this is J1407b. This exoplanet is hauntingly scary for me. First of all, the planet itself is nearly 10 times the size of Jupiter, which is scary enough, but the rings are what really get me about this exoplanet. They are 150 million kilometers across one side to the other. For some reference on how gargantuan that is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. I can only imagine how terrifying floating next to the planet's rings would be. Seeing how far they go out, the fact that something like this is even allowed to exist, the fact that space can make these huge things is terrifying. But what's even more scary is the thought that this can go even further. After all, we can only see our observable universe, and even then, the farthest exoplanet we've ever observed is 27,000 light years away. The observable universe is about 94 billion light years across. And that's only the part that we can observe. There are probably billions, if not trillions, of other exoplanets that we haven't discovered yet with even more mind-bendingly scary properties. But we'll never know what those properties are. We will never research, find out, or understand trillions of exoplanets simply because of the size of the universe. But even in our small scope of exoplanets, we still see terrifying things, like the exoplanet HD 189733b, a planet with wind speeds incomparably faster than the ones on Earth, and a planet that rains literal glass at high speeds. It doesn't even need to be an exoplanet. Uranus and Neptune rain literal diamonds. The planets in our universe are a big contributor to my astrophobia, from the biggest to the weirdest to the most hostile. But when it comes to weird things in our universe, planets simply cannot compete with the fear that I feel for black holes. Melanoheliophobia is the fear of black holes. I definitely have this fear, there is no doubt in my mind. The thought of falling into a black hole is something that, at least to me, is one of the most horrifying things I can think of. On top of that, the sheer size that some of these black holes can get to is crazy, and plays into my fear of them. This is TUN 618, the largest black hole we have ever observed. This monster is 66 billion, yes, billion with a B, times larger than our own sun. Remember all that talk at the start of the video about how big the solar system is? Even beyond Neptune, the Oort cloud of asteroids still stretches much farther than the planets. So it's surprising to find out that 11 solar systems can fit side by side inside of TUN 618. I don't care if you don't have astrophobia or megalophobia, but that is still a terrifying thought. But the appearances of black holes especially really gets me. The way they're just a menacing point of darkness, being massive enough to consume solar systems if they really wanted to. All of this combined makes black holes insanely terrifying and intimidating to me. But it isn't only their appearance. Black holes are the scariest object in the universe mostly because they're just so confusing. We know close to nothing about them, not even light, the fastest thing in the universe, can escape their pull. They're so fascinating, yet so horrifying. They have a menacing aura to them, along with how mysterious they are. Another thing that I think contributes to the fear of black holes, and really the fear of gas giants like Jupiter as well, is that there isn't a surface, nothing to stand on, just a void. Something that scares me even more than that is what happens when you fall into a black hole. If you fell into a regular black hole, you would die almost instantly. However, if you fell into a supermassive black hole, you wouldn't die at first. You would instead fall into eternal darkness for a few hours and then die. But as this happens, due to time dilation, time gets so warped when you're in a black hole, the entire life cycle of the universe goes by while you fall. This happens for several complicated reasons that would be way too long to talk about here, but just that concept. Everyone you love, humanity, nay, reality itself, would be gone in a matter of hours. You would travel to the end of the universe and never come back. Knowing all of this, it baffles me how more people aren't scared of space. It's not just the celestial bodies in the universe either, it's the universe itself. The size of it is mind-boggling, and the formations of celestial bodies that can come from it is even more so. Seeing things like galaxies, these gigantic buildups of billions of stars, with the Milky Way alone having 100 billion stars, they are so huge that it takes light between 100 to 300,000 years to get from one side to the other on an average galaxy. But even average-sized galaxies are behemoths in space, containing tens of billions of stars. Clearly, galaxies are huge, and that's what you would think. But of course, like most things being compared to the size of the universe, galaxies are nothing. Look at this image. Aside from these two single stars, every speck, smear, and tiny bit of light that you can see in this image is an individual galaxy. Every single piece of light that you see in this image, from the largest to the smallest, is an individual world harboring billions of stars and near trillions of planets, with all types of weird properties and possibly even life. However, they're just so far away from us that we would never know. We would never know if there were life on any of these planets or what strange properties they have. We can't look at all of these planets. We can't see all of their stars or be amazed at each individual black hole at their centers. The farthest man-made thing, the farthest signal that we as a species exist, Voyager 1, hasn't even left our solar system yet, and won't do so for between 14 to 28,000 years. NASA has a really cool section of their website dedicated to seeing exactly where Voyager 1 is right now and exactly how fast it's moving. It's a neat little webpage, and it lets you know how truly small we are in the face of even our own solar system. And to think, our solar system only makes up an extremely small fraction of our galaxy. Just knowing that, knowing the true scale of galaxies, and then viewing an image like this one, really puts new emphasis on our place in the universe. But of course, this isn't the limit. Our galaxy exists in what's called the local group, with the Andromeda Galaxy and many other dwarf galaxies. This local group is 10 million light-years across. However, compared to other formations, galaxy groups are nothing. Let's look back at the galaxy image. The galaxy image and images like it only make up a small percentage of formations known as galaxy superclusters. We are currently inside of the Virgo supercluster, a gargantuan formation of galaxies that is 110 million light-years across. Look at this image for a second. Every single dot in this image of the Virgo supercluster is an individual galaxy. If we choose to zoom out further, we would see the Laniakea supercluster. The Virgo supercluster is only a small, tiny fraction of what makes up the Laniakea supercluster. Just like entire galaxies in the Virgo supercluster, the Virgo supercluster is a mere smear inside of the gargantuan Laniakea supercluster. But of course, we're still not done. The Laniakea supercluster is yet another unimportant piece of the titanic puzzle that is the universe. Big thing after big thing turns small when comparing it to the scale of the thing above it. The observable universe itself contains 10 million superclusters just like Laniakea, with hundreds of thousands of galaxies in each one. Now I ask you once again to look at this image. These are all galaxies, vast galaxies, expanses we can never escape, and places we can never reach, and yet are reduced to cosmic jokes when looking at the observable universe. And that's just the observable universe. We don't know the size of the actual universe, but for all we know, it could be infinite. This fear of just how large the universe is falls more into astromegalophobia than it does astrophobia. But astrophobia still plays a large role in my fear of the expansiveness of the universe. It's huge, sure, but we have no clue what could be hiding inside of it, and because of that, it triggers my astrophobia significantly. And despite the fact that we can only see a small amount of what there is to see, we have found so many weird things in the tiny fraction of the observable universe we can see. Weird exoplanets, black holes, galaxies, and yet, if we are to believe that the universe is much bigger than just the part we can observe, then what could be out there? What could be lurking in the places that we can't see? This thought alone is one that's terrifying and brings a lot of questions. What we know is out there is already scary enough, but not knowing what is truly out there is, to me, even scarier. Which leads us to a question. If we've been able to map so much of the universe and detect stars and astronomical events from billions of light years away, then how come we haven't found anyone else? Why haven't we seen any other life forms, despite the fact that any intelligent life that could exist has had much more time to prosper than we did? After all, the universe is 13.8 billion years old, and there are trillions of Earth-like planets within the habitable zones of their stars, so where are all the aliens? This realization, and the question it asks, is called the Fermi paradox, and we don't have an answer to it. Maybe the universe we live in is so hostile to life that no other life forms formed except for us. Maybe the universe was never meant to harbor any life. Earth is the only place a human can survive unaided as far as we know. We can't breathe in space, nor can we breathe or live on any of the other planets that we find. This is mostly because we are what's known as a subtype 1 civilization. This way of classifying civilizations into types is called the Kardashev scale, proposed by Nikolai Kardashev in 1964. It's a way of ranking civilizations based on how technologically advanced they are. A Type 1 civilization is capable of controlling the entire energy output of their own planet. A Type 2 civilization can control the energy output of their entire planetary system. A Type 3 civilization can control the energy output of an entire galaxy. And Type 4? Multiple galaxies. We are currently at around 0.73, if you were wondering. If any Type 3 or Type 4 civilizations did exist, they would be like gods to us, but we would also most certainly notice them by now. But the reason that we haven't might be due to all of the things I've talked about in this video, from the expanse of space to the hostility of exoplanets. It can be hard for life to exist in such a hostile universe, so it could be the reason why we haven't seen any alien civilizations yet. If so, that's terrifying. The thought that not only is space a scary and mysterious place, but we're the only ones here to experience how scary and mysterious it all is, in my opinion, even worse than if we knew that there were others like us, experiencing the beauty and the horror of the cosmos. But it's even more scary knowing that no civilization can truly develop in a place like this without eventually dying out. Either we are alone in the emptiness of space, or we will never become a spacefaring civilization. Both options don't seem good for us. Despite my personal opinion being equivalent in importance to that of an IGN reviewer, I personally think that aliens do exist. If so, the fact that we don't know about any yet really puts the size of space into perspective. The fact that there is so much distance between us and a possible alien civilization truly shows the sheer size of space. Even with technologies that can look billions of years into the past at distant quasars and black holes, we still haven't found any other life. The universe's size holds us hostage and keeps us from finding anyone else. But it hasn't kept us from trying. Currently, on the Voyager 1 spacecraft, there's a golden record. It contains information about humanity, just in case any alien civilization or even future humans ever found it. The record contains 116 images, along with audio and video recordings of humans, music, and animals, and greetings in 55 different languages. The record itself is made of copper with a golden cover, and some uranium-238, so that smart aliens can analyze the half-life of the uranium and figure out when the message was sent. On the cover are a couple of things: instructions on how to play the record, along with a pulsar map that shows where Earth is, along with the Hydrogen Hyperfine Transition Unit definition, which is just a fancy way of trying to find common ground between distances, along with instructions on how to play the video portion of the record. Along with all of that is a recorded voice message from the then President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. This is what it says. "This is a present from a small, distant world, a token of our sounds, our science, our images, our music, our thoughts, and our feelings. We are attempting to survive our time so we may live into yours. We hope someday, having solved the problems we face, to join a community of galactic civilizations." This record represents our hope and our determination, and our goodwill in a vast and awesome universe. There is something eerie about the message. Just the concept of shooting something out into space with information about us as a species, having no clue where it ends up. It's kind of like the outer space equivalent of yelling, "Is anyone there?" in a dark forest. It's also a message with an unknown recipient. We have no clue what aliens look like, how they talk, if they're even based on the same molecules that we are. How do you find common ground with a life form far different from your own? Well, we tried our best to find that common ground, but then the scary question arises. What if we are sending the message to no one? What if there's no intelligent life to receive our message, not even in billions of years? Well, if that's the case, then Voyager 1 will travel alone, carrying some of the only evidence that humanity has ever existed into the cosmos, only for nobody to ever find it. The record will exist for billions of years, with absolutely no one to listen to it. Outer space isn't just visually scary and a source of existential fear and dread, it's also an auditory wonder as well. I bet most of you have heard the term, "in space, no one can hear you scream." This claim is telling the truth. Not only are you likely far away from civilization and people, but you quite literally cannot hear someone scream through the vacuum of space. It has no molecules for sound to travel through. Despite this, we still know what space sounds like. How? Well, space might not have any sound waves, but it does have other waves. We can then translate these other waves into sound waves and hear what different things in space sound like. And they are equally as terrifying as the visuals of space, if not more. Space might not have any sound waves, but it does have other waves. We can then translate these other waves into sound waves and hear what different things in space sound like. And they are equally as terrifying as the visuals of space, if not more. We can hear what the planets of our solar system sound like, along with many other things, and they are chilling, to say the least. When the Cassini space probe paid a quick visit to Jupiter before it went to Saturn, it stayed just long enough to record a bit of Jupiter's sound, and it got this back from Jupiter. It bodes an uncanny resemblance to what birds sound like here on Earth, but something seems off about it, almost like Jupiter's pretending to sound like Earth, like a monster imitating the cries of a child to lure its victims. It's freaky knowing that no matter how scary the planets of our solar system look to us, they always sound just as scary. Then, there are the sounds of moons. In 2021, a space probe was doing a mission around Jupiter and made a flyby by Ganymede, a moon of Jupiter, and recorded some audio of the moon. Pitched down to a level where humans can hear it, it sounds like this. It's chilling. It sounds almost like a distorted recording, but it isn't. That's just the sound that Ganymede makes. However, the sounds of space go beyond the solar system, and even beyond solid astronomical objects. A NASA space telescope named Chandra studied the Perseus galaxy cluster. It detected ripples through space, not much different from ripples in water. Scientists determined that these ripples were produced by a supermassive black hole. Whenever a black hole eats something, it spits some of that thing out. The thing being spit out pushes around nearby gases. Translating these gas ripples into sounds shows us what a black hole eating something sounds like, and it sounds like this. The original frequency of this black hole audio was low, very low. To understand how low, let me put it into perspective. The recording of the black hole sound needed to be pitched up by 288 quadrillion times in order to be heard by humans. The sounds of space are both interesting to hear and interesting to gather, and to me, can be just as scary as the visual universe. I think that, despite the scariness of space, astrophobia is a bit of an irrational fear. There really isn't much of a threat present here on Earth, and even the cosmic events that can affect Earth are usually never brought up in discussions of astrophobia, which is why I think media that explores astrophobia is important, because it actually gives you a reason to be scared of the universe, as you're actually partaking in it. The world of video games in particular can really trigger astrophobia, but even those don't scare me as much as VR space games. Games like No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous are PC games at heart, but both have a VR port. I won't talk much about No Man's Sky because it's more of a caricature of space trying to be a fun game rather than a real simulation of what it would be like to explore the cosmos. Elite Dangerous, however, is the exact opposite of this. Especially in VR, it really provokes a real, accurate simulation of what exploring space would be like, and it is as awe-inspiring as it is terrifying. If you had a spaceship and could access the entire Milky Way galaxy, where would you go? It seems like an uncomplicated question, but not everyone can answer it. There's simply too much to explore and too much to see. Elite Dangerous gives you this experience. It's a space simulator type game that simulates flying a spaceship around the Milky Way. And by the Milky Way, I mean the entire Milky Way. The map is literally the size of a galaxy. It's insane. I love Elite Dangerous in VR. I wish I could say I love just Elite Dangerous, but I really think this game is meant to be experienced in VR. On flat screen, it's a game about grinding for materials, getting into fights, and selling things. A true simulator game. But in VR, it's way more than that. It's an awe-inspiring, yet terrifying example of the power of VR and the true terrifyingness of space. Every time I exit Warp Drive and see a star in front of me, or every time I explore the rings of a planet larger than I can imagine, I feel truly intimidated. If you have astrophobia, then I recommend this game? I don't know. It feels weird recommending a game like this to someone with astrophobia. It seems almost counterintuitive, but for me at least, the amazement and the wonder of space is enough to justify being jump scared by every star I visit. And it's only helped by it being in VR. Grindy tasks like mining asteroids turn into wondrous and awe-inspiring experiences. Traveling between planets in a system turns from a momentary boring detour to a pleasured experience that shows you the true scale of space and the fragility of humans inside of spaceships. Really, if you have a VR headset, I can't recommend Elite Dangerous enough. And if you have astrophobia, then the experience is weirdly more profound. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, we not only find profound objects and unsolved mysteries, but we find ourselves, a reflection of humanity that glistens from each star above, a reflection of our curiosity and our lust for the unknown. Astrophobia, to me at least, is not just a fear of space and celestial bodies, but the fear of the unknown. In the search for meaning in this universe, we've come across many other things that elude us, and we ask many questions. Why are we alone? Why is there something rather than nothing? Why is the universe built this way and not some other way? And maybe we'll never know the answer to these questions. Maybe they're meant to be left unanswered. I said earlier in the video that the fear of space is irrational, but I take that back. I think the fear of space is one of the most rational fears out there. From the visuals to the sounds, the questions, and the concepts of our universe, astrophobia is a representation of what we as humans fear most: the important questions and the unknown. But now more than ever, we are forging a closer relationship with space. With independent companies making spacecrafts and landing on planets and plans to colonize Mars, astrophobia will most likely persist for generations to come. We might be scared of space, but we can't let that fear define our relationship with the universe. We should instead use our fears as a catalyst for exploration, a lens for which we explore the cosmos. And I feel that this image is one that describes our relationship with space well. Taken by the James Webb Space Telescope, it depicts what looks to be a cosmic question mark floating through space. Although it's probably a distant galaxy or something, our relationship with space can be perfectly summed up by it. A never-ending series of questions in an infinite and awesome universe. And I'd like to end this video with a quote from one of my personal heroes, the late Carl Sagan. "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. It is our choice whether we approach that something incredible with fear or with the boundless curiosity that defines us as a species. The universe is waiting, and the stars are our guide. The final frontier beckons, and it is up to us to answer the call."
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Cave Crawler, a game where you're crawling through caves. I believe you're looking for dead bodies, or live bodies. I'm not sure which would be more appropriate in this situation. After acquiring mining rights to the Area 92, Rockwell Mining Group was alerted by local park and forest services to a missing persons report near the entrance to company property. The following footage showcases the use of the Cave Crawler, a newly patented survey drone developed by RMG. Alright. Sounds good. Oh. Find the missing person. Okay. How? Oh. Do I even use the mouse in this? Whoa. 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 Why does it look like teeth? Is this supposed to look like teeth? And what's behind me? Nothing? Oh. How do I look up? Can I look up? I don't think I can look up. Oh, I can look up! Okay, that's where I came from. Well, seems inaccessible, but whatever. That's definitely Toothless's. 100% Toothless. So I gotta find the missing person. I'm not sure why. Also, I gotta remember, I'm just a robot. I'm in no danger. Nothing could befall me. I have a fork in the road here. I don't know if that's a dead end or if it goes around the bend there. I don't trust that way. And this way looks equally disturbing. Is that a foot? There's a boot. 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 Let me get another look at this. Boot. Die. Picture. Train? Oh, scanning. Zero DNA detected. Well, that's weird. Or is it? Or maybe it's not. All I know is that it's a boot. Huh. Did this just loop back around from that other direction? Seems like it might have. My innate sense of direction is telling me to go this way. Hello. Why does everything sound so wrong? Okay. Is there something on the ceiling up there? Or is this more tooth? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. What is that? It's a backpack. Or is it? Isolated hiker's bag, contents unknown. Probably because I don't have the dexterity to open it. Oh, I was gonna careen off the cliff. Hello? Anybody over there? Fine. Right. Okay. Well, so far, so nothing. I know I've talked about it before, but still, sometimes I just think about that map. The one that overlays, like, missing persons reports and the U.S. cave system. And it's just like, I know there's probably some hyperbole in that, and I'm pretty sure it's tastefully selected information. But still, it can't be denied that people tend to die in caves or mysteriously go missing. I think about those videos of people who are cave explorers having to push all the breath out of their lungs just to cram their bodies through the tightest gap you've ever seen in your life. Why is there light here? Hello. Oh, that was unfortunate for somebody. I just don't understand that. I don't have supreme claustrophobia, but I have a good sense of survival. Low battery charge. Yeah, handheld light source. It's called a flashlight. Oh boy. I don't need this to get more narrow. I really don't. Oh. Why am I able to scan this? Unauthorized excavation tunnel. Well, I'm sure that was completely naturally made, and none too much of a concern for me. Ugh. That seems like more stalagmites and tights. I don't know which one's which. And I remember there being... Am I going in a circle? Wait, I'm climbing back up. Oh. So that did connect up, but it just didn't connect where I thought it connected up. Wait, let me go back, because I'm pretty sure that there was another offshoot path that I could have taken over there. That can't have been the only things down here. It's like playing Minecraft down here with all the mysterious cave noises. I don't need any of that in my life. I don't need any of this in my life. I don't even have life. I'm a robot. I'm just a drone. Still haven't found the missing person. Do I have turbo mode? Can I kick on the nitrous? It's kind of slow. I don't think that there was anything over here that I missed, but I might as well backtrack. 1 second, everybody. I'll let you know if something spooky happens. In the meantime, Lixian, definitely don't spook him. That would be against the rules. What do you mean? What do you mean, motion detected? What do you mean? What does 4F mean? Was that always there? 4F? 4F. Okay. These noises starting to mean something else, huh? You're not just goofing with me, right? There has to be something that I missed. But I've already been down that way. There's no way through these teeth. Maybe up back towards the entrance there was something else? Wait, no, rocks. Scary rocks. What rocks? No, it's still a dead end. This doesn't make any sense. But there's only so many places to go down here, and I can't exactly find a path down to the other side. I must be missing something. I always am, but I definitely must. Is there really nothing else over here? Because it was like unauthorized tunneling, and yet nothing. Which is strange. Why would that be? What was tunneling down? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What was that always there? Did I miss that? How would I have missed that? I found the missing person! Oh. What was that? Discovery. After testing the cave crawler for approximately 4 hours, it was able to locate the missing hiker's body in a cave containing a crystalline structure. After further study, RMG discovered the crystals are a highly dense energy source, rivaling the output of current-day nuclear energy sources. That sounds dangerous. Dig it up! What's the harm? After discovering a new potential fuel source, RMG required deeper exploration to locate additional crystal deposits for further testing. Of course! The following footage was collected by the cave crawler 22 hours after a major cave-in trapped RMG mining personnel within the cave. Sure! Bet it had nothing to do with those crystals. Is that flesh? Is that blood? Is that blood that's slowly oozing betwixt the rocks? What's back this way? Mission, finding the bodies incomplete. Of course it is. Was this a code for... Well, hey, buddy. I'm just gonna pretend like that didn't happen. Because it didn't. If you saw anything, you're crazy. Interesting. I'll come back to you later, mysterious object to my right. I'm gonna try to be procedural about this. Uh-huh. Well, more crystals, that's always good. Valuable. Rockwell mining tool. I don't think it is. I don't think it... Oh. I gotcha. It's a wheelbarrow. Rockwell excavation container. Well, that's an awfully polite way to word it, I suppose. Well, it makes it feel good about itself. Hello. Cavern blocked. Cause unknown. I think it's the rocks. You know, if I had to place my finger upon it, I would assume that it's rocks. Hello. I see the thing up on the ledge. You know, the thing that's on top of the waterfall of blood. But I'm just going to... Wait. Ultra safe protective headgear. You didn't wear your headgear! Sir and or madam! You forgot to put on your headgear. I found a body. Someone else found a body too. Well, good for you. You probably can put more use to the body than me. So I'm not going to sweat it. It's all good. Oh. Oh. That's a big cavern. That's cavernous, if you will. Hello? Oh, motion detected! I detected that. I don't think you can get away with that. I spy, with my little eye, a Rockwell excavation container. That's fine. What's with the oozing fireflies? Oh, those are beautiful. Oh, them's gorgeous. Also, that Hey, I'm down here. If you could stop the excavation for a little bit longer, be greatly appreciated. All right. Also, that's definitely a code of some kind in the bottom. I don't know what, though. I don't know what or why, but there is a code forming down there. Hello. Hi, you doing all right? You doing all right, pal? Well... You're undulating beautifully. I found a body. Oh boy, I sure did. Okay. Is this like an autonomous drone, or is this just like someone piloting this and seeing it and witnessing it? It's another cave-in. Hello. Oh! Is that a body? That do be a body. I would have missed that one. You lost your helmet. If only, how did you even get down there? That doesn't make any sense. Oh! Harvesting. What? After searching for 2 hours, the cave crawler was only able to locate the bodies of 3 of the miners still intact alongside personal equipment of the remaining 12. Upon further examinations, the recovered bodies provided important medical data on the crystalline structures. Did they? That doesn't seem like the conclusion you should draw from this action. It seems like something went horribly, horribly wrong. Did it give you any clue of the horrible nightmares that are lurking down in the deep, deep depths? Beginning as small spores, once contact has been made with a form of biological material, the crystals will begin to grow by converting the biological matter into energy. After implantation, small crystalline formations appearing within 24 hours, with crystals reaching full maturation after 48 hours. Beginning at 0800 hours, seismic detectors registered a slow buildup of vibrations deep within the RMG pit. After 2 localized seismic events, contact was lost with the feeding team. The what team? Cave Crawler was deployed to locate the missing team members. Team members of what organization? Oh, good. I was hoping for tentacles. That's what I was thinking that this was all missing. Tentacles and hot dogs. That's great. You keep doing that. That's just tickling. The cloth allows for the bodies to breathe. Uh-huh. About that, I have questions. They're still alive. Who is still alive? Bodies ready to be implanted. There is no turning back. I'm a robot. I don't think I have much agency in this, but at the same time, my survival instinct programming is really ramping up. Legally mandated biohazard warning. Good. Well, all right. Wearing a mask is highly recommended but not mandated. We are not responsible for any medical issues, RMG. Okay. Well, you know, how about a whole lead-lined suit? All right, I'll go naked. I think naked is the best strategy in the face of whatever the hell this is. Because this is definitely not a massive creature's butthole. Hello. Are you part of the feeding team? Lovely tentacles. The blood fireflies are great this year. The seed is first planted. That's the conclusion to draw. Is that my programming leaping to these conclusions, or is this something else? Not looking that way. I'm looking that way. What's that way? Uh-huh. That's what I thought. Okay. Goodbye. That's fine. That's fine. Is that a puddle? Puddle of what? Puddle of what? Don't say blood. Don't. Whoa. You can say blood. Unknown liquid. Okay. Definitely not blood. 100% not blood. Absolutely. Definitely not blood. What's up there? Hi. You, implanting up there? A mistake was made. A mistake? Uno mistake? I feel like many mistakes might have been made to get to this conclusion of where we are right now, but whatever. It is what it is. Really wish these tentacles would stop tickling my grundle. Oh. 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 You all right there? You okay? You found a crystal. Uh-huh. I sure did. That's what I did. And I'm not gonna go that. That seems like it's going back. It's not the same way I went, but it's in the same direction. Let me see if I can get across this chasm. This chasm of mysterious unknown liquid. Definitely mysterious unknown liquid. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that's a crystal, all right. That's a crystal, all right. How have I only found one of the team? I feel like... Well, that's nothing to worry about. Is that a team member? Of the feeding team? There are no bodies left, only the crystals. Okay, well, I'm really not having a good success rate on finding these team members. I'm beginning to think that there aren't going to be any survivors down here. Well, this looks fun. But apparently there's... Wait a minute! Did I see a Tootsie? I'll go all the way around for a good view of this one. Whoa! I don't know if that qualifies as a Tootsie, but I found something. Great. So that was 2 of 5. I'm really batting a low average here. I'm not doing terribly good. See, you know, I'm down here exploring for the missing team, but honestly, I don't even know how they qualify as missing. I just think that if you go down here, do you really expect to come back? Is that a natural conclusion here that we need to explore? Because it seems, just to me, that if there's a feeding team and this thing turns into biological matter, that you kind of dump them down a hole and then just, that's it, kind of it. You know, I don't know about any kind of return. Oh, hey, I see you. What are you? Dang. All right. Good. Great. Kind of a low ceiling here. Does that go back the way I came? Looks slightly different. Hard to tell. Whoa. What in the heck? Agitated crystalline object. Agitated, as in pissed off or stirred? That could be many definitions there. Also, I still don't know if I'm going in a circle and that was just an event that happened here. I have a funny feeling I'm going in a circle. It was a circle. So this is... What is that? So yeah, okay. Let me go back this way. Because it wasn't quite the circle where I thought it was, so this area is still unknown. So I still need to explore this section of it. Oh. Oh. Uh-huh, okay. Black void of nothingness. Whoa. Whoa, what is going on down there? Unknown organic mass detected. Oh, good. Great. That's good. That's good. Hello. Hi. You part of the feeding team? Yay, I found a crystal. Are you sure? That's the thing I should be celebrating, because it seems like I should be finding team members, and yet you keep referring to them as crystals. You laughing at me? What are you laughing at me? What do you think's so funny? You think this is a joke? Huh? My very serious job that I take extremely seriously? You think it's funny? This is the last one. The seed begins to sprout. So you're telling me this is not a team member. What's your delineation on what is and is not team? Is there something different over there? Is that all still the same? Okay, that's all still the same. There's got to be one more area around here, probably towards the beginning, that I missed or overlooked. Am I seeing something over there? No, just more tentacles. Did I scan you already? I must have. I must have. I did not! How did I miss you? Well, I guess because you look exactly like all the others, so maybe you're the last one. Oh, great. Oh, good. Red! Warning. Federal law provides severe civil and criminal penalties for the unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or exhibition of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs. That's a weird warning to put here in this place right now. The following footage is for internal use only. Unauthorized use may result in major fines and/or a penalty of up to 65 years in prison. Internal report UFO001. The following footage was collected from Rockwell Mining Group after the results of agents redacted and redacted investigation into the origin of the earthquake. RMG was immediately subpoenaed for further documentation regarding records of the mining site. Upon review, the following footage is believed to be what caused the disaster. Once more under the breach. Good. I seem to have poop on my lens. Why are you looking at me like that? Okay. You know, caves don't look so good. Ow, my eyes. Whoa. Cool. Unknown organic matter. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, probably horrific and world-ending, but still pretty cool. I don't mind it. It's not too bad. Cool! Big crystal. Multiple bodies detected. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. That's a little goopier than it needs to be. That's a little more penisy than it needs to be. Well, maybe not. Undulating intestinal tract. Okay. Clearly not penile in any way. I see. This is giving big mystery flesh pit vibes. Carlos! Oh, I didn't recognize you. How you been? Everyone loves Carlos. Life of the party, that guy. Just, you take it easy, Carlos. You have a good one. You have it. All right. Okay. All right. Love that guy. Still really goopy. And who's it gonna be? William F! Wow. In the flesh, so to speak. Mario L. Yep. Oh, down. Oh, God. All right, well, we're just going for it. I don't like the way it moves. Oh. Okay. This is fine. This is so good. What is that? You've got some dirt on your... Okay. Oh, well, my mistake. Okay. My bad. Internal report conclusion. Upon further investigation of the provided materials and under the order of the current Director of Homeland Security, RNG has been contracted to continue study of the caves under the direct supervision of Dr. Redacted. Really? That makes perfect sense. Definitely trust them. Mario L. William F. I didn't find Gabriel. Oh, where's Carlos? Oh. That's big. That's big. Please rewind the tape before returning it to filing personnel. I think I have a horror game in my queue called Rewind or Die, so maybe that'll be next, just because thematically it makes sense. What? Following the conclusion of internal report UF0001, reports of similar geological incidents have been received from monitoring stations indicating events at there, redacted there, and there. As instructed by Dr. Redacted and Dr. Monto, survey crews have been dispatched to all locations for further investigation. Good. Ah, there's more! Well, that was pretty fun. I like that. It was a little simplistic. It was a little slow. It didn't have nearly as much horrific ambiance as I was expecting it to have. Although it was like a darker tone and the exploration is fun. It was just a little slow at times. But still, I like what they're trying to do. The whole world building flesh pit of nightmares. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So very good. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. You can play You can play this game through the link in the description. You can play this game for yourself through the link in the description below and check out more scary games that I've played down there as well. Thank you. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!